Hey, we're coming to you from beautiful Salmon Arm on the shores of Lake Shuswap here in British Columbia. Jordan and I have brought our families out for our annual lake country camping trip. It's always a ton of fun, but you know, when you're getting ready for a camping trip, you gotta have a checklist, like all the things we need to pack for the trailer. Like, do we have food and snacks and water and bug spray, sunscreen, you know, all that kind of stuff. Well, you see this is what happens when you forget to put transmitters for your mics on that checklist. So that's okay. Jordan beat himself up and he's fine now. We're all gonna be fine. You just get some really nice close-up shots of me talking and a little cable in the way. But it really is such a beautiful place to visit, and you know, the water's wonderful and there's lots of things to shoot, and that's why I brought this today. So this is the new OM System 50-200 f2.8, and you know, OM System are famous for making cameras designed for wildlife and sports and that kind of stuff. But what I really like about this lens is it's actually not oppressively heavy. You know, on a trip like this, I can go from shooting really nice portraits with shallow depth of field to shore birds and animals to close-up shots. It's a truly versatile lens, and I'm going to show it to you today. I'm Chris Niccolls, this is PetaPixel, and this is beautiful British Columbia. So when I'm planning one of these getaways, or I'm gonna be gone for multiple days, I legit use the OWC cards. I really like the reliability here. They've been compatible with every brand of camera I've used, and I know they've got the speed to handle any video or burst shooting that I wanna do. They also have lots of capacity, which is important when you're gonna be gone for so many days. So these are the Atlas Ultra cards. These are V90 speed cards. They're so fast, but I can get these up to 512 gigabytes, plenty of storage. And then when I get home to download my projects, I can use something like this. So this is the OWC Atlas dual SD card reader. It's got some really handy features. I love that we've got this built-in USB cable that I can just nicely stow in the bottom of the reader. That's great when I'm traveling, but there's also a USB port here so that if I want to use this for desktop use, I could go to a longer cable. I've got twin SD card slots. These support SD 4.0 architecture, and this is a USB 4-speed device, so it downloads all my stuff really quickly. And then OWC takes care of you even after you buy the cards. You can use their mobile phone app. This is just a handy way to stay up to date on the latest firmware updates and things like that. But you can also use their Energize software, register the products that you buy, and this way you can update your firmware, you can check the health of your cards, and you can also securely erase them when you want to get rid of all the files on there. It's really cool stuff to check out. So big thanks to OWC for sponsoring this episode. You should definitely check out their products by clicking the link in the description below. So I've got it on the OM1 Mark II here today, and of course this Micro Four Thirds system from OM System is really designed for outdoor wildlife, sports, like rough conditions, and I do love how durable they are. This lens is no exception. I mean, fully weather sealed to an IP53 weather rating. You know, it's gonna be able to handle pretty much anything you throw at it. Nice white paint job. That's just to prevent some of the thermal expansion issues that might have, and honestly, it is hot here in the Shuswap area. Like, we're gonna have heat distortion for our long range shots. I know that, you know, just bear with us. It's also very hot for us physically. We're like pretty sweaty. But what I do like about this is it's not too heavy to carry around on such a hot day. This really is a very manageable lens. It's still giving us that 100 to 400 millimeter full frame field of view equivalent, but in a lens that's much more like a smaller 70 to 200. This thing weighs just 1,075 grams. It's not bad. That makes it just slightly heavier than the older 40 to 150 f2.8, and it's not too big either physically. I mean, this is a 77 millimeter filter thread on the front. We get really nice controls, manual focus ring here, lots of customizable buttons. I like the zoom ring, the sort of panda coloring. It's easy to find, it's easy to grab. I can set my focus limiter. I've got autofocus, manual focus controls. I do also have image stabilization built into this lens. They're saying 7 stops when combined with the IBIS inside the body. That should give us a nice stable platform. We've got preset distances here, and you can focus on the soccer net, lock it in, and then return to it with a button press. Really, really nice stuff. And I always like a tripod color that is adjustable, so I can loosen this up and rotate it. I'm not getting detents or anything like that, but I can take it off completely, which makes sense on a lens that's a little bit lighter, more manageable than this. And I do love that it's cut for Arca Swiss dovetail. This hood is also nice. I got a small push button lock here. I like that instead of just like a friction bayonet fit, and I appreciate that. And we do now have a cutout here, which we've seen on a lot of other brands, but this This is fairly new for OM system here, just to let you adjust your polarizing filters and things like that. And the last thing I want to say here is, although I do love this for, portraits and some wildlife work, 400mm full frame equivalent is still like borderline for me for wildlife. I really prefer to have more distance. So what's nice about this now is we have that f2.8 aperture all the way through. That means we can afford a little bit of light loss. So this takes the 1.4 and 2 times teleconverters, so I can get that extra expansion, not only for reaching out for tighter fields of view for wildlife, but also for getting me better macro capability as well. So British Columbia has a much longer and more generous growing season than we have in Alberta. So you get beautiful flowers, really, really nice stuff. We got spider webs here, just covered in water. It's a great opportunity to talk about macro on this lens. And it's actually a really capable macro lens. I like it. So at 200mm, where I'm gonna get the most working distance, I'm gonna get 1 to 2 life-size macro reproduction, which is really nice. And then if I use a 2 times teleconverter, I could push that to 1 to 1. And I'm getting about 0.78 meters from the sensor. I mean, that's plenty of distance to shoot. So I'm not anywhere close, which makes this a great lens for hunting around for insects and things like that. The image stabilization with the IBIS is just really useful to try to stabilize everything and get me that good sharpness. So I dig this as a macro lens. It's actually really versatile when you're out in the woods. Okay, so for creative purposes, Jordan wanted me farther away, but by farther away, we're talking like a foot and a half, because, cable. Anyways, I'll just hold this like an influencer. Let's talk about autofocusing here. So this lens is using very powerful high-speed linear motors, very fast autofocus, as you can see here from near to far. We don't have any pausing. It's quick and snappy, which is perfect for what this lens is intended to do. Okay, time to talk about bokeh. And on this lens, although it is micro four thirds, I know people are gonna say, oh, you're losing shallow depth of field. Well, yeah, but we're getting like the full frame depth of field equivalent of a 400mm f5.6. I mean, you're gonna still get very shallow depth of field. And I think that's very important when you're shooting not only portraits, but also wildlife against busy backgrounds like leaves and stuff. What are those highlights gonna look like? How soft is that background gonna be? Well, I'm happy to say it's actually really nice. I mean, 9-bladed aperture. You can see when you're shooting wide open, we don't get much of a cat's eye effect. Everything's still nice and round to the corners. When you stop down the lens, we're not getting any sort of polygonal shapes or anything like that. Little bit of a soap bubble effect, but no onion rings in there. It's very clean. And overall, I'd say I really like the transitions throughout the field of focus, and backgrounds are soft and beautiful. So I think they did a really good job in this regard. All right, so the sun is beating the out of me, but it also gave us a really good opportunity to test flare on this lens, because you're going to be shooting outdoors in conditions like this. The sun could be anywhere depending where the animals are. And so I wanted to do this test. I mean, again, we've got a really good hood, but I decided to take it off for my flare test just to see what the lens coatings and lens can handle. And as you can see here, actually really nice result. This lens has no issues with flare. I'm not really seeing much contrast loss at all. And ghosting is incredibly minor. You barely notice it at f2.8, and stopping the lens down doesn't really get any worse. So I'd happily shoot this lens towards very bright sunny conditions. Okay guys, easy sharpness talk, because this lens is part of OM Systems Pro line. They're usually very good. So here, first off, looking at 50mm range, center is very good at f2.8, lots of detail, not really noticing much improvement when I stop the lens down. Corner's not bad either, good sharpness here, wide open f2.8, stopping down the lens just helps a little bit. 200mm though, this is where you're gonna use the lens most of the time, and again, it's a very similar story. Great detail in the center of the charts here, wide open, stopping down, I don't really notice much improvement, and the corners, it's a similar story. Good corner sharpness, wide open, little bit of improvement when you stop down, but this lens is designed to shoot wide open all day long, whether using it bare or with teleconverters. All right, so we're coming to the end of our super hot day. We're all roasting. I can't wait to get in the water. But you know, I had a good time with this lens. I mean, it's got so much going for it as far as optical performance. It's compact and lightweight, it's rugged, fast focusing, versatile. I love the close-up capability, it's sharp. I mean, this is absolutely a professional lens in every sense of the word, but unfortunately, as good as it is, we are paying a fair amount for it. I mean, we're paying full frame lens prices for a micro four thirds lens. And so I think that's just kind of the way it is nowadays. You're paying a lot of money for these things. I mean, we're not 150 to 400 territory, but that does come with a built-in teleconverter. But I do think this hits a sweet spot for having something that's portable enough for when you're doing more in-close work, gives you that versatility and can still reach out with teleconverters when you want to shoot more distant wildlife. So if you're a micro four thirds shooter, I think this is probably the best telephoto lens for birding, animals, wildlife in this kind of size and range versus any of the other lenses you have available from Panasonic or OM system. But it's time for me to take a shower, absolutely. So I hope you guys enjoyed this little look at this OM system lens, and I expect and hope that we'll see other good glass coming from them now going forward in the future, stuff that we haven't seen before. So we are entering to exciting time for OM system optics. Hopefully we'll see a new body to go with it as well sometime soon. Leave your comments below. Let us know what you think. We always appreciate the feedback. Check out the PetaPixel podcast on this exact same channel, or you can listen to it on all your favorite podcasting apps. And do consider helping us with our projects by getting a PetaPixel.com membership. $3 a month, $30 a year. It's not expensive. It gets you some great discounts. 25% off the merch store. You get 5% off a lot of the used gear on KH.com, and that's a big deal. And there's all sorts of other benefits. Ads, free perusal of the website, lots and lots of stuff. So definitely consider that. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you soon with more on PetaPixel.